welcome to Salesforce CRM Analytics video session 166. So basically in today's video, we will actually walk through all the formatting options which are present in the table. So we have covered the three kinds of table which we have under the table mode in Salesforce CRM Analytics, that is, the values table, compare table, and pivot table. And today we will actually walk through all the properties which each of these tables have. So whenever we open a table, there will be two options which you'll be seeing on the right, which is, the table and column. So those are nothing but the formattings of table, and we will walk through each one of them, and of course the formattings are repeated on each of the table. I will walk through one of them and I will show you if there's a little bit of difference in other tables as well. Okay, so firstly let me go to Analytics Studio. So let me open the first of all values table, and also I will simultaneously open others as well. So here, let me open the compare table. And here, let me open the pivot table. Now, if I actually over to this formatting options over here, as I told you, on the formatting options, you have two options, table and column. So firstly comes up is the theme. Okay, so theme, as the name suggests, basically it will show you what kind of theme you want. Okay, for example, if you want this kind of coloring theme, okay, so that's the way it is. If you want this kind of, the heading will be blue and others will be white, or if you want it more on the greener side, okay, on this kind of, so some themes are already present over here. You can actually choose any one of them. Maybe for now I can choose this green one, for example, over here. So this is all about the theme, okay, how the background color, and if you see, for example, over in this, then the heading is like more of a deep green, but here it's like more of a light green in the first row, and for the events one it's more like a light color. Okay, so that's how this theme is all about. Fine, the next part comes is the spacing. So you have this cell padding, as you can see here. So this cell padding, if you want it left intended, if you want it middle, or I'm sorry, the padding is more about the width of this, each kind of the width of this, the vertical section of this, of each. For example, for each cell, what is the width? So for example, if I go for the extreme left one, you can see this is how the width is. If you go for the middle one, you see the width size had increased for each of the cell, and if you go for the right, you see the spacing between this vertical part has increased. Okay, and as you can see in the image as well, so here, for example, just imagine each of this as the cell width, and if you choose the middle one, the space will increase, and if you choose this one, the space is going to increase a bit more. Okay, so maybe I can go for the middle one as of now. It makes sense. Now what is this column width? Okay, so that's the cell padding, like how much padding is required between each of the cell. Okay, so then basically you have something called as column width, which is resizing columns manually doesn't affect the mean and max range, which is fine. So whatever is the mean and max is, that is fine. But if you want to fit to data, you go for this. If you want a fixed width, okay, so what I can do is, like here, for example, maybe I can just decrease a few of the fields. So maybe what I can do is I can go for opportunity name, ID, industry. Maybe I can skip the opportunity ID as of now. Okay, I think that is fine. And yeah, the billing country as well. Yes, that doesn't make sense. The stage bucket as well as of now. Fine. So let me click on apply. Let's have a few minimum fields as well right now, and maybe I can get rid of the created data as well. Okay. So that's how this is, like, this is the fixed fit. If you want to fit to data, this is how it will fit in. Okay, as you can see over here. And yeah, if you want to go for a fixed width, this is how it will pop up. There will be a fixed width, and within that, you will have, for example, if I add a few more, I think we have to then scroll it up. So for example, I choose something like opportunity closed date. Okay. Yeah, so basically there will be a fixed bit, but if you click on fit to data, that's how it will appear. And then you have something called as fit to widget. So in the widget, it will completely fit up. Okay, so no matter how many columns you do, there will be a specific size, and in that it will fit to that widget. Fine. Fixed width is like, this is how it will shrink. There will be a fixed width of each one of them, and when you have something called fit to data, it will ensure that the data fits in properly. So for example, if you go to fit to widget, you can see the cell padding increased a bit. Like this ID has actually gone to the next line. The ID is so long, but it has gone to the next because it had to fit to the widget. So ideally, then, if you see this amount, this is also like, that 00 is coming in the next line. That's how this is part. But if you go for fixed widget, basically there will be a fixed thing, and of course the ID might compromise itself based on how it has to fit it. But if you go for fit to widget, like everything, as you can see here, fit to widget. Okay, in fit to widget, I can see the same thing as of now. Okay, but if I just remove one of the columns, it's going to fit in. For example, let's say delete this one. I think then it's going to definitely fit in. But if I go for fit to data or maybe fix width, yeah, in fixed width, you see that is shrinking a bit. Okay, so this is how we will decide like how we want it. Okay, based on that, it's going to fit itself. Okay, that's all about this column width. Then within pixel, how much max, minimum, and maximum you want, we can play around with this number, which is fine. For example, let's say I go for something like 100. Okay, and here maybe I can go for something like 500. Okay, so that's about the minimum. And let's say if I go for something like 1. Okay, and here maybe I can go for something like 900. Okay, so this is all about the minimum, maximum. We can play around with this. I haven't played this much about it, so yeah, you can just check out on your own like how this will affect. Okay, so if you just reduce the number, you see this number is reducing actually. Fine. So if I go for 10, then if I go for 100, if I go for 1000, and maybe I can make this as 9,000 also. Okay, so depending upon the ratio, we can just play around and check this one. Nothing much. Your background color, now you can change. You have identified the theme. If you want to change the background color, you can change for it. For example, maybe I want something on the darker green side. Okay, and the text color, maybe I want something, let's say, on the bluish side. Okay, so that text which is appearing for this header. So these are all header options that we can actually change it from here. Okay, that text size also, let's say if you want to make it 14, and if you want to make it center line, you can do this. The style, if you want on an italic way, then this is the style about. I don't want, let's say I can make it italic right now, that's fine. Format, if you want it underline. Okay, text format none. As of now, I think underline, I'm not able to see anything. Or is it like, okay, so if you see here like this account ID, or maybe what I can do is for now I can make this as white just to ensure I can see it properly. So if I just make this text format as underline, you see this hashtag which is coming up, that is being underlined over here. Okay, that's about this one. Now, if you want to wrap the text, so the wrapping text is something like, now if I can bring the close date, maybe I can show you that wrapping text option. Okay, let me just go for here, fit to data, maybe. Okay, if I go for fit to widget, and if I go for wrap text, okay, you see the text is getting wrapped, the heading at least. Okay, because these all options are coming under the header. So under header, as you can see currently, it's like icon ID, you have the account name in this manner, industry, opportunity, and amount. But if I want to, like, if I don't wrap it, then basically, it's taking the whole thing and you're not able to see it. You have to hover over it to know the name. But if you click on this option of wrapping this, it will wrap the name accordingly. Okay, so that it shows the complete version. That's the thing about the wrap text. Okay. Now it completely depends on like what kind of option you have chosen. For example, if you choose fit to data, it will automatically show you all the name, not an issue. With fixed width, of course, it won't show up properly. In that case, you have to go for that option. Again, fit to widget as well, currently I'm not able to see. So now if I go for wrap this, as you can see, the account name is popping up clearly. Okay. Then for cells also, you have all this option, what color you want to go. For example, let's say I choose something which we can differentiate with. Maybe if I choose something for pink, you can see this is coming as pink. So I can go for this kind of blue. Okay, the text color. The text size also I can increase. Let's say if I increase to 14, that's how this is coming up. And if you don't want to wrap the text, this is how it will pop up, as you can see over here. But if you want to wrap the text, this is how it will appear. Okay, so wrapping text, like, if you don't wrap the text, of course, you have to hover over it to know the full ID. Otherwise, if you want to ensure that in the cell that complete text comes up, then you can go for this option. These are some things which are some of the basic functions which we have in the Excel as well. Then comes the border thickness. Okay, so if you want to increase the border thickness, let's say this border thickness which you see, I'm just making it 8 purposely just to ensure this becomes completely visible right now. Okay, and if you want to choose the border color, let's say you want to go for purple, I can go for that one. And the major grid line colors, for example, major grid lines separate rows and columns such as headings and primary groupings from data and secondary groupings. So these are some of the groupings which you have. So for example, just to differentiate what is a major grid line and the minor grid line, what I can do is for this one, let's say I go for something on the red side. Okay, so if I choose something on the red, you see this line is coming as red right now. Okay, Then the minor is currently this one. For example, let's say I choose on the yellow or maybe a bit brownish side. Okay, I can choose this one, and the red one maybe I can choose something on the. Let's say I choose the green or I don't know yellow color. Okay, but anyways, the major grid line is actually this one. If you see, okay, this the cursor where I'm pointing to, that is the major grid line. Fine. And basically the minor grid lines, as is being said over here, minor grid lines separate rows and columns containing data and secondary grouping. So this is the major grid line which is separating this number, and after that whatever things you see, these are minor grid lines. Okay, for now maybe I can make it as white. Okay, first of all let's understand this major grid line. Now you can see that color, this color, and as well as this color which is being there. That's how we are able to separate it. Maybe for now I can also make this one as maybe a bit darker so that we can see that. Okay, just to ensure we can see this line. So I hope now it's visible. This is the main line and this is the main. These are the major grid lines, and similarly the other than that, whatever other lines you see, those are minor grid lines. Okay, maybe I can give this color as of now. Okay, which is fine. Now when it comes to color, so the table background color, what do you want to choose? For example, let's say I want something on the bluish side. Okay, so I can choose the color in this manner. Alternate row colors, if you don't want alternate row colors, you can disable this option. If you want that alternate voice, you can go for this option. Now odd color, so basically these are odd rows, right? So for odd color, what you want to choose? I think I'm fine with this one. So for even color, what kind of color I want to choose? I maybe can go for something on the gray side. Okay, this is how it is. The numbering which you see, that will be of that common color which you choose one. Okay, so for example here on the color section, if I choose something different color on the odd color as well, let's say choose this one, I can go for that. But again, the table background color, what numbers is happening, that color will remain same. Okay, so that's the thing about this one. And odd row color, I choose this one, and even row color, the lighter gray. Okay, then basically what is this enable frozen lock columns on the left in place. So here, like as you can see here, I will be able to scroll. Like maybe I can get one more column, I guess, to prove this point. Maybe if I click on apply. Okay, I think I've chosen fit to widget. Maybe I can go something like fix it. Okay, I think in that case I will be able to show you, or maybe fit to data. Yeah, so this is about fit to data. As you can see, let me go for fix it as well. So here, as you can see, I'm able to scroll on the right, and maybe I can bring one more field, which will be like stage bucket. Now, if I want to customize frozen columns, I can choose like from which column I need to froze it. So now you can see all the columns. For example, I'd say from the third column, I want to froze it. So now if you see here, this is how it will come up. Okay. So up till third, you will see everything. Now, even if you have the scroll bar, if you scroll to the right, up till the third, it will be remaining constant. Okay. But if you scroll to the right, after third, it's like scrolling. Okay. So up till third, it's frozen. Now, if you choose none, like if you just scroll to the right, whatever things are to the left, you won't be able to see that. But if there are certain constancies which you always want to see, and even if you scroll right, it will be frozen up to that column which you choose. Okay, and others, like if you want to show the row index column, if you don't want to show it, you can disable this. Okay, and if you can disable, nothing much on this one. Maybe I can have a separate session like loads all results for the table at once instead of loading pages data on demand. That is fine. Currently we don't need it, so that we can check out separately. But yeah, these are some of the formatting options which we have on this values table. Now comes the column. Okay, so this one maybe I will walk through in the next sessions. Okay, so currently I hope you understood the formatting options which are there under the formatting options, the table options which we have. I hope you understood. In the next column, maybe I can very quickly walk you through the column ones, and I can also walk you through what are the options which are there in the different tables as well. Okay, so let's stop it over here. Let me just save this as well. And yeah, let's meet very soon in our next session. Thank you.